session of today and to the event. The event which I'm sure had get us all thinking about many aspects in relation to education and creative industries. One thing though that seems apparent to me is that whether we are ready or not, we are entering the creative economies. It is also apparent that in order to make creative industries or creative economies to work, we need some forms of collaboration. It seems evident that the industries cannot do it on their own, and higher education cannot do it on our own. Yet, the questions remain. How shall we collaborate? What roles shall each party play in order to strive for the win-win situation, while not losing, as asked by one of the audience yesterday, the integrity of education? In other words, how to get the balance right, which is the theme of our afternoon session. And join me on the panelists this afternoon are three experts from various fields. The first speaker, Paul Sturrock, the founder of Slingshot Venture Development that helps teams and individuals to create innovative entrepreneurial strategy. Paul also designs and delivers courses in entrepreneurial strategy, venture design and investment readiness for university in the UK, including the City University, London, and Central St Martin's College of Art and Design. He is currently researching in simple venture design, a system that enables entrepreneurs to manage uncertainty. If I could invite Paul to the side.
Thank you very much. First, I'd just like to thank the British Council for inviting me to be here today. It's a real pleasure. I know this is about...
Can you hear me better now? Yes, I can hear myself better now. So I'd like to thank the British Council for inviting me here. This is about creative industries, but what I'm most concerned about, and what I'm going to talk about today, which I hope is relevant, is the idea that all business, no matter what, is a creative endeavor in and of itself. And I'd like to start with a little bit of history of business strategy. So the first people that tried to develop the idea of how do you plan industry, how do you plan any business or something like that, with the military. They thought, especially in the days of set-piece battles, that you could actually plan a battle down to the last moment and logistics and so forth. And they were the ones that essentially invented the science of strategy. Now, during the Industrial Revolution, this is a picture of Henry Ford's assembly line, but actually the first assembly line was set up to follow the military's needs. What the military wanted by then, for the purposes of logistics, is they wanted standardized parts, so that if a gun went down in the battlefield, you could easily repair it with another part that was just like itself. And the whole emphasis of the Industrial Revolution was the idea that parts could be standardized, methods of assembly and analysis, until you have the typical Charlie Chaplin film in modern times, and everything down to the nth degree that can be measured and analyzed. And if you look at most management science during the 20th century, it was all about the age of analysis, the idea that we could have business planning and analysis, and that's the way to build industries and everything. In the meantime, back in the ranch, as they say, the military had actually discovered that this approach doesn't work. Because, as a famous field marshal once said, no plan survives contact with the enemy. No matter what you decided to do, once you actually get into action in the field, unexpected things start happening. So what the military did is they changed their whole approach, away from plans to the idea of a concept of operations. Now, the way a concept of operations work is you train your people very, very carefully, all sorts of drills, so they know different skills and routines. And then you give the local people and the resistance, the guerrillas who are the best at this, you give them an idea of what your general objective is. You may have a rough idea of what you're going to do during a war campaign or a battle, but basically what you end up doing is you let the people in the field improvise according to what's actually happening. So the key thing in becoming an apprentice is very much what a surfer does or a skier. It's the ability to negotiate disequilibrium. Not pretending you can control where everything is going, but not completely submit to the wave either, but occupy what complexity researchers call the boundary between order and chaos, and learn how to ride a wave, ride a bicycle, and so forth. If you're going to teach students how to do this, the best way is to take some examples from martial arts or from sports. It's all about drilling, all sorts of basic practices, so when you do get into a real fight or a real game, you can improvise, but your training has helped you to improvise. Another very good example is what musicians do. Yeah, they practice chords, drills, and scales all the time, but then the most gifted among them, is my opinion, are able to improvise by themselves. It's the same spirit that we need in entrepreneurship and in design. Because the key thing is, we need to go back to what humans are best at, which is adapting and evolving. And we do that by learning, by accepting that learning, adaptation, evolution, and design are really fancy words for this very same phenomenon. And we need to get back to being good at this. Good example of this works is not just at the individual level, it's cities, as I mentioned. Companies last about 45 years on average. Cities last for hundreds of thousands of years because this is constantly happening as a result of the actions of individual agents. Some other recent examples, the Arab Spring is another example of a self-organizing system that emerged out of people following their own inclinations and deciding what can I design and adapting themselves to the situation. The film industry that we're going to hear about a little bit more is another type of organizational structure where people come together and then go apart according to the right project. So the thought I want to leave you with here is it's not about one system, I think. It's not design thinking, it's not being startup. But I think whether we're trying to create new businesses, whether trying to teach people at any stage in education how to design and build new things according to what they know, and therefore how to create Silicon Valley or whatever, you can't plan these things. But if you adopt these attitudes and teach students to adopt this mindset and the skills that go along with this, you will succeed. And the basic skills are exploration. We need to have more patience to the idea that in the first stages of a project, we don't know what we're going to do. This is very difficult in business, I know, because you have to justify your budgets. But Google does this. They allow 20% of their time for their people to do this kind of exploration, and it leads to results. Once you define a problem, you want to create by learning and learn by creating. So don't put together a lot of spreadsheets and business plans. Actually build something, however minimal. See what happens and let it evolve from that. And therefore you learn by building over time. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for a very interesting talk, and I begin to grasp some answer to how to be joint force between creative industries and the education. I will take questions later. I'd like to move on to our next presenter, which is from Thailand, Saranya Noithai. Saranya lectured and worked at Kantana Institute, Thailand, a pioneer in entertainment and film industries. She directs, produces, and writes a number of film projects, including She Dare Love Story. As a lecturer and a key stakeholder active in the industry herself, I am sure Saranya will have many insights of how to balance the academic and the industries. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Saranya Noithai.
Thank you so much, and it's my honor to be attending at this conference. I'm not used to this kind of conference, so please, allow me to make some mistakes. I'm quite nervous, but I'm very honored to be here to speak up, to give some feedback, give some stories about entertainment business. in entertainment business in the past 20 years. And in the past 10 years, I have another foot in film school. Okay, and this conference really gave me enthusiastic spirit about sharing my story, because I play with dream, hope, passion of filmmakers, of students, of people who love to tell the story. So life projects for students, yes, but for the big, like to imitate the real scenario, not just small group to do short film, but to do, just take one movie, take 1 year to do it. So there's a long term of learning they can share, to write script, to be producer, to be director, and you can make money for making this movie too. It doesn't have to be just experimental film. How to keep such relationship fresh? Well, lecturer in school must act as filmmaker as well. Must be motivator, must be inspiring idol, and learn at the same time with students. Ministry of Education as well. And if a student can see that they have someone to help them, they can be confident that their life is a long road ahead of them. And how to harness international experience? Yes, filmmaking, entertainment business is a world creative economy. The story can be anything. Dream, we all have dream, we all have passion. We can enjoy our life every day. So let me and my students, my filmmakers, my friends, my colleagues, to give something valuable, something entertaining to all of us, so that we can have some fun in this world, although we have to take care of our life today. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Saranya. So the film industry has spoken. Next, the final presenter for this session is Frazer Macdonald. Frazer is the director to the Glasgow School of Art in Singapore. He's specialist in architectural reuse and intervention, interior architecture, and architectural conservation. In addition, Frazer is now the educational chairman for the SBID, Society for British Interior Design, the educational consultant for ECIA, European Council for Interior Architecture, and a member of the Scottish Parliament Committee for Architecture and Built Environment. Ladies and gentlemen, Frazer Macdonald.
Hello, and thank you very much. Hello, and thank you very much for having me here. I realise that I'm not in your schedule, and so I appreciate that you may feel, oh no, not another presenter until we have to wrap up. But the reason why I wasn't in the documentation to begin with was that I wasn't sure if I was going to be here or not. Mainly because we're about 4 working days away from starting the Glasgow School of Art Singapore, and the doors opening for the students. So it's a welcome relief for me to be here and to be amongst my peers, and I hope you will enjoy the presentation as I take you through what I've been up to in the last 6 or 7 months on the lead-in to opening the school in Singapore. I have a 3-year contract to open the school in Singapore. My job is to direct that and to ensure that all parties are together working together. We have a cohort of students. The cohorts of students move through the process, the 3-year process, sorry, the 2-year process, and to ensure that the teaching staff and the education is of valid quality. I've been involved in a couple of partnership projects in the past, some successful, some not so successful, and my position in these partnering projects have been in a small scale to directing my own partnership this time round. The first time round was in Scotland with a Chinese partner, and I was quite new to education, and I was quite new to the process of partnership. Unfortunately, the partnership broke down, and it was an interesting learning curve for the university, but moreover, it was an interesting learning curve for me to see how to deliver a partnership, how to structure a partnership, how to gain the trust of partnership. And I'll try and explain a few of those items, those aspects of partnerships to you. Teaching content, partner relationship and community, trust and flexibility. The surprises were the procurement processes. I wasn't ready for the procurement process in Singapore, but it's a laborious process, let me tell you. Staffing involvement, local engagement, industry involvement, and alumni help. Alumni is incredibly important, and it's a real big surprise to me that there's so many alumni from Glasgow School of Art in Singapore, and we've really lent heavily on them for support in many aspects of the partnership. So what's happening next? Well, Glasgow School of Art are really interested in developing a master's, several masters, different programs. New programs such as product design and fashion are on the way, and we're in negotiation at the moment. New partnerships to be found. We're in discussion there also with other places in India, in Asia, India. And reflection and revisit the process, streamline the development and move forward. Just 2 more slides. This is, I hope this is a lot different now. This was on Monday, so we've got our screens in. We've got our interim campus serviced with servers, cabling, IT, e-learning. These are the Macs, dual platform Macs in. This is our campus that's getting built at the moment. On 2014 in Tamasek, this campus will be built, and in 2014, that's not long away at all. So I have to say thank you for listening. I really appreciate the fact that I wasn't on the schedule, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we have time for probably a couple of questions. Any questions from the audience? Yes.
Hi, I'm Sita from Frazer. So first, my question is basically addressed to you, the chair, being bachelor's in communicative design. My experience in Thailand is we have a lot of plans. We plan and plan and plan, but we don't implement anything. And I believe one of the reasons is because of the communication gaps, for various reasons. Maybe it's a culture, we don't dare question our seniors, or maybe it's the youngsters, even if they're not comfortable being wrong, they want to be right all the time. Considering that would also run across our ASEAN cultures here. And are you interested in cross-disciplinary design? Is it possible for a cross-disciplinary curriculum design? This is education. You talked about different design practice. How can we design a creative curriculum which is cross-disciplinary, starting at secondary school? Because I know at primary we do everything because there's no pressure to get a job, to get good grades, to get to university. When it gets to secondary school, all that goes away. It's all physics, chemistry, biology, or a serious English and maths. We lose it. But we do have a few success stories like the South schools, the 3 Muslims. Being in advisory, whenever I recruit people I'm more interested in this school, high school, than where they went for the bachelor's and master's, because the drawings are very good. Now, couldn't we apply that forward? Use we have all the connections right here, all the right people are here to act on it.
Right, okay then. So did I get it right, or did I mistake it? You would like to ask me?
Yes.
Well,
you can lean on the rest, because I'm coming from yesterday's conference.
Sure.
The topics are very interesting.
Sure.
Plenary.
Yes.
But we have a communication problem with our people.
Sure. I think I'll be more than happy to talk to you during the break. I like to give the chance for the people to ask the speakers here directly about what they're just being discussed. I mean, I'm so happy to answer
No problem.
questions. Yeah. But I think Paul can also respond to that.
I'm by no means an expert, and I have spent almost no time here, but just one very quick thing that I can mention is in the UK at least, Jeff Mulligan has started a movement known as studio schools, which is very much secondary school education built around the idea of cross-disciplinary projects. So there's a very good, if you go to TED.com, the last Edinburgh conference, he gave a talk on that. That's about all I know about it, but I know that. And Project H Design is another example I know of where somebody has used design-based project thinking in a multidisciplinary way along the lines that I think you're talking about. So that might be interesting illustrations at least.
Okay then. Any other question? Oh, gentleman over there.
Not sure that my question would be appropriate for this session, but I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. As a matter of fact, what I would like to know is how is the industry education and industry cooperation or partnership in the production of teaching, learning material, how to facilitate physics teachers, for instance, for their students, how to facilitate mathematics teachers, that is, I haven't heard so far. Thank you.
So your question is how the industry and the academic can join force to benefit other field of teaching.
The product is teaching aid, teaching materials.
Teaching aids, right, teaching aids and teaching materials.
So far the product is film, media creative and so on, because in this field it has to be also very, very creative.
Right.
People have to be very much creative. And not only creative, because they have to follow the so-called curriculum process.
Yes.
Thank you.
So maybe I think it might be directly about building a teaching aid for certain particular thing. But I'm sure our panelists can have some thought about or share some thought about the curriculum in general, because we all been involving in education. How do we make a curriculum creative and available to others' field? Would you like to?
For education.
Yes.
Yeah. It is not a curriculum. For instance, is there any industry trying to produce teaching aid, teaching materials to facilitate teachers how to teach mathematics, how to teach physics, how to teach chemistry, and so on?
I can only answer that from a creative industry's point of view, but there are certainly industries out there who are manufacturing things like e-learning, Blackboard, BLE, these type of interactive learning and teaching facilities, so that we can teach and provide our syllabus and our content digitally from afar. Apart from that, I think that's all I've got for your question.
Well, I try to answer that from my own experience. Actually, when you talk about entertainment, I mean, maybe I concentrate more on the film side, but for education, I think for TV, for documentary, or even film, I try to create collaboration work for any industry. That's why we have corporation video presentation or event, or actually my university try to support all staff or the lecturer to create teaching aids for workshops for students and also for teachers as well. But it takes a lot of time. Let's say and it creates enormous works, time, budget, and the process. Because let's say you want to create as a teaching aid for math, like you say. So you have to get together into groups of, okay, the mathematics expert, the script writing, the director, the producer, and all those. So you have to fight and talk, brainstorm this and that. So it's a long process. And then eventually, for the audience, for teachers, for adults, for kids, so everything is about entertainment, about graphics, but the most important thing is how can we make it a big story and then cluster into a small, interesting, entertaining 21-hour tape, videotape. But I think what you're asking is being done in YouTube. Actually, we have I forgot his name. He's very this person, I forgot his name. He was Stanford. Yes, that's one. Yes, yeah. So he started from his home. He taught his friends or his brother, something like that, and his brother took that clip and posted it on YouTube. And then he doesn't have to work anywhere. He just conducts his own video, and now he's become famous worldwide.
She's referring to Khan Academy, and I think the big innovation there is it started as instructional videotapes, but what the experiment they've been doing in California is what they call flipping the classroom, where it used to be that you would teach during your sessions and then give the children and the students homework. But Khan Academy is now exploring the idea is that the children read or play with the content themselves at home by watching these videos. This is maths lessons where it started, and then what they spend the classroom time doing is actually doing homework, using the teacher as a resource to solve the problems of what they don't understand.
If I could jump in a little bit, I think there have been a lot of views in various mixed media to help promoting the education, and certainly companies such as IDEO have already started to use design thinking onto the education, and it's have a very good downloadable mapping if you would like to go to that website. And at our school, we also work with students and encourage them to build a lot of different ways of, we call it kind of teaching materials. And I think kids nowadays are also very media literacy, so they also find a lot of channel to help themselves as well. But I think what you have read is very, very interesting, and I think a lot of creative people also, as far as I'm concerned, in this country, have been looking at, and it's going to be a very, very blooming sector. I think a lot of people have been working at it, with the project, because I think the need has been noticed very much.
Well, I thank you. Because with your answers, that my conclusion is that Indonesia can sell you.
Okay.
It is, you can see in the website persona, persona.edu. Then you can try to see what they have made so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would like to invite you all to thank our panelists today for a very fruitful and interesting discussion. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Ahmad, for chairing that final session. Now, in your itinerary, it does say that we have a break.